Lew Fields, born as Moses Schoenfeld, was an American actor, comedian, vaudeville star, theater manager, and producer. Biography: Fields was half of the great comic duo Weber and Fields, the other half being Joe Weber. Fields and Weber started performing in museums, circuses and variety houses in New York City. The young men had a Dutch act, in which both portrayed German immigrants. Such dialect acts were extremely common at the time, the comedy coming from the actors' mangling of the English language and dropping of malapropisms as they undertook life in America. In the case of Weber and Fields and many of the other acts of this genre, this often involved stereotyping by dress and behavior, as well as comedic and often sympathetic portrayals of the characters' attempts to fit into American society. Crafty schemes of making it big in America, as well as the attempts of mere survival of immigrant poverty in America, were written into the script of these acts. A typical Mike and Maya routine involved Mike, the short and clever one, unsuccessfully trying to coach Maya, the tall and simple one, in a scheme to get them a free lunch at a working-class saloon. The two toured successfully for many years, becoming one of the most popular and profitable acts in vaudeville. In 1896, the partners opened the Weber and Fields Music Hall, where they produced very successful burlesques of popular Broadway shows. In the music hall's cast were some of the greatest performers and comics on the American stage at that time, including Lillian Russell, Ross and Fenton, Faye Templeton, and DeWolf Hopper. Some of their routines were Poos Cafe, Hurly Burly, Whirligig, Fiddle-Dee-Dee, Hoity-Toity, Twirly-Whirly, and Whoop-De-Doo. The duo separated in 1904, and Weber took over operations at the music hall. Fields also went on to produce many musicals. When Fields starred in the 1911 stage comedy, The Hen Pecks, one of the supporting comedians in the cast was Vernon Castle, who went on to become a famous ballroom dancer. In 1921, Fred Allen and Nora Bayes toured with Fields. During the tour, the orchestra was conducted by 19-year-old Richard Rodgers. In 1923, Weber and Fields partnered yet again for a Lee DeForest phono film Sound on Film short, where the team recreated their famous pool hall routine. This film premiered at the Rivoli Theatre in New York City on 15 April 1923. 3 years later, the duo were among those supporting Will Rogers and Mary Garden on the NBC radio network's November 15, 1926 debut broadcast. Their own NBC series followed in 1931. Weber and Fields also reunited for the 27th of December 1932 inaugural show at Radio City Music Hall, which proved to be the last stage appearance of the two performers as a team. In the RKO Radio Pictures film, The Story of Vernon and Irene Castle, Fields appeared as himself, reenacting a slapstick comedy scene from the Hen Pecks. They gave a cameo performance performing their casino routine in the 1940 movie Lillian Russell. Personal life: Fields was the father of Dorothy, Herbert and Joseph, all of whom enjoyed theatrical careers of their own. Legacy: the backstage hostility in Neil Simon's play and film The Sunshine Boys is reportedly based on Weber and Fields. Filmography: The Story of Vernon and Irene Castle.